and by my watch, it is 6 o'clock. So I am going to begin. So welcome everybody to this National Geographic Learning Professional Development webinar. In today's model lesson, you will learn some teaching tips and some ideas about teaching by taking part in some activities from a National Geographic Learning program. I'm saying program because our courses are much more than just a textbook. All of our programs have a large number of print and digital components and also ancillary resources, which we'll look at later on. And today we're going to be doing an academic reading lesson, and it's in the context of dinosaurs. So I hope you like dinosaurs and I hope you like reading. So yeah, welcome everybody. Okay, if you haven't been to one of my webinars before, if you don't know me, my name is Will Lachette, and I am a teacher trainer for National Geographic Learning. I have been living and teaching and training in English language teaching in Asia since 2001. So I've been doing it for quite a long time. And while we're doing that, I would just like to, while I'm mentioning that, I'd just like to find out about you. So I'm going to launch my first poll here. If you've been to my webinar before, you know I do this every time. It's just to give me an idea of who I have in the audience today. Hello, Rosebell. Good afternoon. So you can choose as many of these segments as you work in. So if you teach all of them, you can tick all of them. So yeah, just to give me an idea of who we have. If you can't answer, that's fine. I know some of you on your phone, it might be difficult to do, or maybe you're cooking dinner or looking after your children or something. So it's okay. If you can't do the poll, don't worry. Same thing. I'm going to be asking you lots of questions today. And I hope that you can participate in the chat box. If you can't, then that is okay as well. But I'm always happy to hear your opinions and to get you to interact as much as possible. So please take part if you can. Okay, let's end the poll. We got 70% of you have voted. So let's see. I'm going to share the results here. So majority of you, 57% teach teens, which is perfect. About half young learners. We've got almost 40% university. A third of you teach adults. So what we're looking at today, as I said, academic lesson, academic skills program. This is really suitable or aimed at teens. University students would also be applicable for young adults or adults. So anyone who's learning in an academic context would be fine for this. Okay. If you're teaching young learners or very young learners, you know, some of the ideas we talk about will be relevant for you as well. Okay. But primarily this is for teens or university students. Okay. So today's lesson, as I said, it's from our academic reading program. It's called Reading Explorer, which is in the 3rd edition. I'm going to be using Unit 7 from Level 1. And Level 1 is for students who are at an A2 level on the CEFR, which means that it's for students who are a kind of pre-intermediate, roughly pre-intermediate level students. Okay, so it's not, I'm not going to say it's for 12-year-old students or 15-year-old students. It's not. That's not how this program is designed. It's designed by English level. Okay, so A2 level. All right, so the tool I'm using today is called the Classroom Presentation Tool. And the Classroom Presentation Tool, it's a digital teaching aid. It's a piece of software, basically, that contains all of the content, interactive content from the student book, has all the audio, the video, all of the activities, all of the answers, has everything you need to teach the lesson all in one place. And as you'll see as I'm using it, it's a fantastic teaching aid, whether you're in the classroom or whether you're teaching online, as I am today. So we're going to swap over and have a look at the Classroom Presentation Tool and start the lesson. So I'm just going to stop sharing just for a second, and I'm going to do a new screen share. So just give me a few seconds while I while I sort that out, let's do the screen share. Okay, and go over to here. So you should be looking at a different screen now. We're not on my PowerPoint anymore. Can you just type into the chat box for me? What can you see on your screen now? So this is the beginning of the lesson, okay? So what can you see? Dinosaur. When dinosaurs ruled, you can see a dinosaur. That's fantastic, okay? You can see, how many dinosaurs can you see? Many. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, actually you can't. You can only see one dinosaur here, okay? Which one do you think is the dinosaur? There's only one dinosaur there. The biggest one is the dinosaur. That is right. And if I just zoom in a little bit here, we can see. So this dinosaur, we can see a little bit of text here explaining what is this dinosaur doing? It's hunting. That's right. And what is it hunting? It's hunting its prey. We can see here on the screen. It's hunting. Can you see? It's hunting sea reptiles, right? And the reason it says that it's hunting sea reptiles is that these reptiles that lived in the sea at this time, they were not dinosaurs. They were another type of reptile, and they were called plesiosaurs. So this dinosaur is hunting for plesiosaurs or sea reptiles which lived in the water. Okay, what's interesting to me is that these plesiosaurs, they're actually very closely related to modern day snakes or monitor lizards or Komodo dragons. So they're basically this sort of that part of the family. So these have evolved into snakes. Okay, so these are not dinosaurs living in the water. So that's the first thing maybe you're going to learn today. I didn't know that either until I learned this lesson. Okay, so let's have a look. We've got a couple of questions here. Number one, movies about dinosaurs. Okay, so this is normally a warm-up activity we'd do as a discussion in groups with a partner. We can't do that, so we're just going to type into the chat box. Have you seen any movies, any films about dinosaurs? Yes, Cherry's seen Jurassic Park. Marvin's seen it as well. A lot. Okay, and when you watch these films about dinosaurs, can you type in a few adjectives for me? Adjectives that describe dinosaurs. Okay, so if you're just going to give a few descriptive adjectives, what kind of words? Right, Olga says scary, incredible, fierce, humongous, brave, big, aggressive. Okay, there we go. Right, majestic. Wow, some wonderful words. Strong. Okay, there we go. Scary, smart. Okay, there we go. That's interesting. Smart. Okay, that's one that people don't normally say. Humongous. Okay, huge, aggressive. Right, so we've got a lot of good words there. And these, most of them are the ones that we would expect. Okay, Marvin says extinct. Okay, yes. Okay, it's a good way to describe the dinosaurs. Question number two, let's have a look. It says, why do you think people are interested in dinosaurs? And I think generally people are. I have been my whole life. When I was a child, I was very interested in dinosaurs. My daughter, who is 2, she's absolutely obsessed with dinosaurs, right? She has a toy dinosaur that she has to sleep with. If he's not there, she can't go to sleep. So why are they so interested? Okay, so Cherry says, we're interested in how they became extinct. Yeah, Mary Jane says, yeah, because they don't exist anymore. They're unique. Okay, Mary Jane says, are they for real? Okay, right. So maybe there's a certain element of mystery about them. These huge, yeah, they were so big and so strong, but they went extinct. We're curious about them. They're huge. So they ignite our imagination, okay? Because, you know, we just imagine these huge creatures and they're so mysterious and they seem so exotic to us. So this is why people are interested in them. Okay, thank you very much. That's very interesting indeed. Okay, I'm just going to pause my share just for a second while I go to the next page. And I'm just going to set up my page here because I want to hide a couple of things so you can't see it. All right, so if you just give me a few seconds here, and I'm going to set up what what is called a window shade. So this is really useful when you're teaching your students. Sometimes we're teaching and we don't want our students to see something. We want to hide it. So if we have their books shut and you show them the classroom presentation tool, as I'm doing now, so you can see here on the screen that I've just put these window shades. I've blocked out these two squares here because I don't want you to see that information, okay? So this way I can focus your attention on what I want you to see, and I can stop you from seeing what I don't want you to see. Okay, so what can you see on your screen now? You can see a different dinosaur. Does anyone know what this dinosaur is called? Maybe one of the most famous ones, probably the most famous one, a raptor. Yeah, Honey says it's a T-Rex. I agree. I think this is the T-Rex, okay? And some of you mentioned this film earlier on. What was the name of the film that the T-Rex was in? Jurassic Park. Okay, that's right, exactly right. Now, that's something interesting, okay, something we're going to talk about now. So actually the T-Rex was in Jurassic Park. So what does it mean by Jurassic? Well, if we go over here and have a look, we can see that we've got this nice infographic here, which is a timeline, which explains the different periods that made up the time that the dinosaurs were alive. All right, so we'll talk a bit more about T-Rex in a minute. But first of all, the first question here, we've got this timeline yet to set the scene, okay, to help us understand the context of dinosaurs before we go in and start reading about them. So first of all, number one, what kind of animals were dinosaurs? So if you look here in the timeline, you should be able to find the answer for me. So what kind of animals were dinosaurs? You can find the answer here. They were reptiles, Agnes says. They were reptiles. Can we have another word before that? Because they're not the same as the reptiles we have today. So what type of reptiles were they? Right, here we go. So Maria's got it. We can see up here, it says the first dinosaurs, and then it says prehistoric reptiles. So I'm just going to highlight that so we can see it. They were prehistoric reptiles. Now, this is a lesson for A2 students. So I think we want to explain what prehistoric means. So the word prehistoric, we can see there are two parts to this. We've got pre, okay, and pre is a prefix. And this part of the word pre, it means before. Okay, it means before. The word historic, it looks like another word. It looks like a subject that you study at school. So historic, which subject does it look like that you study at school? It looks like history, right? So if we put these two together, we've got before history. So in this context, history means when we started writing things down. So anything that happened before we started writing, okay, before our civilization, we call prehistoric, okay? At a very simple level, it means a very, very long time ago. Okay, there we go. So prehistoric, well, Roosevelt, not anything that happens in the past, because, you know, what I had for breakfast today, that's in the past. But that's not prehistoric. So it's before human records began a long, long time ago. Okay, question number 2. It says here, we'll do that one later. Okay, before we do that, let's have another look at the infographics. I like the infographic. Okay, so we got here, it says 248 MYA. Can anyone tell me what this MYA stands for? Have a look at that. What can we say this MYA stands for? It does, and it stands for a million years ago. We can see that at the bottom in the key. It's always worth drawing students' attention to this, because often people don't notice things like that. And if we don't understand that, it's difficult for us to get the context. So it stands for 248 million years ago. So we can see here that dinosaurs were around for about 180 million years, okay, 180 million years. That's how long dinosaurs were here on Earth. To put that into perspective for you, can anyone have a guess? How long do you think human beings have been here on Earth? Okay, how long have we been here? Like, for example, do you think we were here when dinosaurs were around? Okay, Honey says 6,000 years. Marvin says 1.8 million years, 1.8 million. Sherry says 6,000. Janelin says 100 million years, 66 million. Okay, so we've got a lot of different guesses here. Actually, humans have been around for, I'm going to type it in here, we've been around for about 300,000 years since the first humans who were biologically the same as us, since they came about. It's been 300,000 years. So when we talk about the dinosaurs being around for 180 million years, okay, just again to help you understand, that means for every 1 year that humans have been here, the dinosaurs were here for 600 years. They were here for 600 times longer than we've been here. So this is really a huge amount of time, and we can see this is why we've broken it into 3 periods. We mentioned earlier T-Rex that we can see down here, and we said T-Rex is in Jurassic Park. So we've got Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. But actually, T-Rex wasn't around in the Jurassic period. If I show you the box here, if I click on that, we can see that Tyrannosaurus Rex actually lived in the late Cretaceous period. So it was around 68 to 66 million years ago. So that means that T-Rexes could never have eaten a human. Okay, we weren't around at the same time. But interestingly, another animal, there are some animals around today that the T-Rex might have eaten. Can you think of another very big reptile? It's got huge jaws like this, okay, and it's still around today. They might live in rivers or in the sea. Like Marcus has got it, crocodile, right? So crocodiles have actually been around for 80 million years, crocodiles and alligators, this family. So crocodiles were actually around at the same time as the T-Rex. So although a T-Rex never chased a human, it might have been chasing a crocodile, or maybe the crocodile was chasing the T-Rex because the crocodiles were bigger back then as well. So I think that's something interesting to put it into perspective. We weren't there, but the crocodiles were. Okay, crocodilian reptiles were around at the same time, 80 million years, and they're still here, and they haven't really changed very much in those 80 million years. Okay, one more question for you before we move on. What does extinct mean? Okay, so it says here, dinosaurs became extinct. What does extinct mean? So this is another word we need to explain to our students. It means they no longer exist. They are no more. They are dead. Okay, great. They're not breeding anymore. They died out. So it means that they were here, and then they were not here anymore because they died. Perfect. And when did the dinosaurs go extinct? How long ago was it? We can see here it was at the end of the Cretaceous period. Yeah, and we can see it was around 66 million years ago, okay? About 66 million years ago, something happened, okay? There was a climatic, maybe an asteroid, okay? So something changed the climate and the dinosaurs went extinct, or they died out 66 million years ago. That's great. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so I hope that you found that interesting. Okay, before we look at the reading, I hope that you learned something there. And all I'm doing here is I'm trying to set the scene. I'm trying to engage you with the topic. I'm trying to use your own knowledge. I'm trying to relate it to crocodiles, something that we all know today. Humans, how long we've been here. I'm trying to put everything into context for you. Something else that I'm hoping you realize, that there are a few things we talked about there, how long they've been here, were they here at the same time as humans, living in the water, these were not dinosaurs. So I hope that you've learned a few more things. And dinosaurs, it's a topic where everybody knows about dinosaurs. Everybody thinks they know about dinosaurs, but it's a topic where perhaps we don't know as much as we think we know. And on that theme, I'm going to give you another quick poll. Okay, so let me launch this. So here on the screen now, I've got 3 yes or no questions. And please, can you try and choose the answers? So all you need to do is very simple. You're just choosing yes or no. So question number 1, was T-Rex a powerful predator? Okay, yes or no. Number 2, were there any dinosaurs that could fly? Yes or no. And number 3, are all dinosaurs extinct? Yes or no? So I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about these questions, yes, no questions. And all of these questions will be answered in today's reading lesson. So you're going to find out. So why am I doing this? Why am I asking you these questions? I'm sure you know already, but by asking you these questions, I'm making you think about your knowledge, okay? I'm making you make a prediction. So later when we read, because you've made a prediction, you will naturally be curious to find out if you were right or if you were wrong, okay? If I get you to discuss this in a group, okay, then you will have invested some of your time into these questions. So the more we get our students to think about it, the more they invest their time, their effort, the more they will care when it comes to the reading, okay? So this is something I think is really important when we're doing reading with our students, because we know that students are not always very interested in reading. So everything we can do to get them more interested is a win for the teacher. Okay, let's end the poll and share the results. Okay, so was T-Rex a powerful predator? So 98% of you have said yes. Were there any dinosaurs that could fly? 85% of you said yes. And are all dinosaurs extinct? 78% of you said yes. Okay, so there we go. So for all of these questions, we've got yes, we've got a strong yes, okay, for all three. Okay, so we're going to check our predictions. Now, before we do that, let's have a look at the title of this article. So this article is called The Truth About Dinosaurs. So here is a little critical thinking task for you. Without reading this, okay, and what I should do is I should actually, I should cover the text so you can't see it. Cover more. Okay, there we go. Right, so let's put it like that. So if we're just looking at the title there, what does this title suggest to you? Okay, so if we're talking about the truth about dinosaurs, what does that suggest? Okay, revolution, facts, right. It's going to talk about facts. And if it's talking about facts, what does that suggest about what we think we know about dinosaurs? Hidden facts, right. Okay, that's a good point. Right, Marvin says, we don't know the truth, right? About whether or not dinosaurs. So there are things that we do not know, Maria says. Agnes says, there are things we know about them and maybe myths. Okay, right. So this title is suggesting to us that dinosaurs are a subject that everyone thinks they know, but maybe we don't. Okay, so let's have a little listen. Okay, I just want to do the first. Paragraph here. So what I should have done earlier, I should have set this up like that. So I'm going to cover that one so you can't read it. Okay, and then we're going to zoom in. Okay, and then here we go. You should be able to see the text there now. Okay, and we're going to listen and read the first paragraph just to check. Okay, so actually, what is this article about? Were your predictions here correct? The title, The Truth About Dinosaurs, what does it really mean? Okay, so let's listen and read.
Track 13, Reading, 7A, The Truth About Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs are fascinating, but half-truths and myths about them are common. For years, scientists thought dinosaurs were just giant reptiles. Some dinosaurs were huge, but many were about the size of modern-day birds or dogs. Were dinosaurs warm or cold-blooded? Paleontologists are still not sure, but they now believe a few dinosaurs were intelligent. Some smaller ones, like the 2-meter troodon, had fairly large brains.
Okay, so I'm going to pause there. Okay, and then let's go in and have a look. So we said, didn't we? Okay, we said that, or you told me, you said things like there may be myths, okay? Things we don't know about the real dinosaurs, right? So we can see in the first sentence here, it says dinosaurs are fascinating, but half-truths and myths about them are common. So we can see that this article is basically going to debunk, okay, or set us straight, to tell us the truth about some things that we may think we know, but perhaps we don't know. Is there anything interesting here? Anything that you didn't know mentioned here? There are a few things that I think are interesting. For me, this one, they believe a few dinosaurs were intelligent. So when I asked you earlier for adjectives to describe dinosaurs, actually one of you did put clever, but normally if you ask a group of students, they will not say clever. They will say big, scary, powerful, huge, humongous. And that's another thing it tells us here. Some of the dinosaurs were huge, but many were actually quite small. So a lot of the dinosaurs were about the same size as dogs, okay, that we have today. So they weren't all gigantic. So straight away, this article is showing us that what we think we know about dinosaurs may not be true. Okay, let's move on to the second paragraph, okay? Okay, so I'm going to unclick this, okay, so that we can see. There we go. And we're going to listen to the second paragraph. Okay, I just closed my audio.
Track 13.
So I need to fast forward that. I think it was about here.
Don had fairly large brains. Was T-Rex a powerful predator? While some scientists think Tyrannosaurus rex was a powerful predator, others think the opposite is true. For example, in the movies, T-Rex is often a fast-moving giant. In reality, though, this dinosaur could not run fast. It was too large to move very quickly, so it probably moved about as fast as an elephant. T-Rex also had very small arms and probably wasn't a powerful hunter. It may have been a scavenger instead, eating dead animals.
Okay, so let's have a look. So the question was T-Rex a powerful predator? And 98% of people here today said yes. What does this paragraph tell us? Okay, it tells us no. Okay, is it definitely no? And how do we know? What can you tell me? Okay, was it a powerful predator? Anything that we can pick out? So at the top here, it does say some scientists think Tyrannosaurus rex was a powerful predator. Okay, right. That's a good phrase there. Yuri says opinion is divided. Okay, there we go. So some scientists think this. Okay, and I think this was the traditional view. But it says down here at the bottom, it says T-Rex also had very small arms and probably wasn't a powerful hunter. Okay, now why do we think that? Okay, firstly, it had very small arms. Okay, so it wouldn't have been able to grab its prey very effectively. And it also says here it was so big, it was so large that it couldn't move very quickly. So if it couldn't move quickly, it wouldn't be able to catch other animals. So what a lot of scientists now are thinking, the more modern view, is actually a T-Rex may have been something else. It may have been what? Instead of a hunter, it may have been a different word. Right, Yuri's got it. So it may have been a scavenger. Okay, there we go. So actually, this is telling us that we don't know 100%. We weren't there. Okay, we weren't there with the T-Rex, but we've now got divided opinion. We've got two different opinions here. And I think from my understanding from the research I've done, the more traditional view was it was a powerful predator, and the more modern view emerging now is that it probably wasn't a predator. It was probably more likely to be a scavenger. Okay, there we go. So that's the first one of our predictions. Okay, let's move on and have a look at the second one. So I'm just going to come down here and zoom in a bit more. Okay, so the next one was, could dinosaurs fly? So we said 85% of us said yes. Okay, so let's listen, read, and find out. I'm just going to comment on that. Mary Jane says we could compare with the Komodo dragon. I think that's a good point. And the Komodo dragon, I know, is a scavenger. So the Komodo dragon, although it can hunt as well, but often the Komodo dragon will eat animals which have already dead. So it does scavenge. So maybe that's a good comparison, Mary Jane. Okay, so let's listen, read, and check your predictions. Could dinosaurs fly?
Could dinosaurs fly? Some reptiles, known as pterosaurs, were able to fly, but Even though they looked like them, these were not dinosaurs. Pterosaurs, such as Tupeshwara, could probably fly up to 16,000 kilometers nonstop. Scientists believe pterosaurs were actually very heavy, so they probably could not take off from the ground like birds. Instead, they first had to drop or throw themselves from trees in order to fly, much like bats.
Okay, there we go. Someone's put, oh, Mary's put, oh. Okay, so here we go. So most of us said that dinosaurs could fly. What does it tell us here? Could dinosaurs fly? Okay, it tells us no. So there was something that could fly at this time. So no, none of them could fly. None of the dinosaurs could fly. So what it tells us up here, let's have a look. I get rid of this. So, sorry, let me zoom in again. Okay, so what it's telling us that it wasn't the dinosaurs that could fly. It was another group of reptiles, and these were called pterosaurs. Okay, so the pterosaurs were a type of reptile, but not dinosaurs. Okay, so just as I told you earlier, we had plesiosaurs in the oceans. The pterosaurs were able to fly, but dinosaurs only lived on land, and the pterosaur was not a dinosaur. So the pterodactyl is the most famous pterosaur. It was not a dinosaur, and I didn't know this. You know, my whole life I thought that was a dinosaur until I read this article. But I've checked it out, and you can check it out online, and you'll find that this is true. This is real information. I'm seeing a lot of people going, "Ooh, ah." So we're all learning something today. Anything else interesting in here that you learned? So someone mentioned dropping from a tree. I think this is fascinating. So it says here that the pterosaurs, they were heavy. So if they landed on the ground, they wouldn't be able to take off. So they actually had to land somewhere high, or maybe hang in a tree or on a cliff, so that when they could take off, they had to jump off something high. So if they landed on the ground, they wouldn't be able to take off. So I think that's very interesting. Anything else interesting in this paragraph that you can see here? Anything else that you found interesting? Did you see how far they could fly? Yes, like bats. I think that's very interesting. How far could they fly non-stop? 16,000 kilometers, which means, you know, I live in Singapore and I'm from the UK. That's 12,000 kilometers. So a pterosaur could actually fly from Singapore to London, or I even checked it out, from Singapore to New York is 14,000 kilometers, 14,000. So a pterosaur could have flown from Singapore to New York without stopping. Mary Jane says, okay, it's based on what scientists believe. That's right. So this is a belief, okay? This is in it, and you're right to point that out. It does say they could probably fly. So they're basing this on our scientific evidence of animals that we know today, okay, of their skeletons, of the fossils that we have. But yeah, this is pretty amazing. We know that today some birds can fly similar distances to this, actually. They can fly almost half the way around the world. Okay, let's have a look at our last paragraph. Are all dinosaurs extinct? Okay, last one. So we said 71% of you said yes. So about 30% said no. Okay, so let's listen and find out.
Could dinosaurs fly? Dinosaurs completely disappeared about extinct.
Here we go.
Dinosaurs completely disappeared about 66 million years ago. Scientists think they died out because of a global climate change. The Earth's temperature became too cold for them to survive. Now you can only see dinosaurs in museums. However, scientists believe that modern-day birds are in fact dinosaurs' descendants. If this is true, then dinosaurs' relatives are still walking and flying among us.
Okay, there we go. Another very interesting paragraph. I'm just going to answer Mary Jane's question here. Mary Jane says, what makes a dinosaur different from other reptiles? I'm not an expert in biology, okay, I'm not a paleontologist, but from my understanding, what makes them different would be, one thing would be the structure of the skeleton. So dinosaurs would have had feet, okay, but If we look at the plesiosaurs, they had like flippers, right? So they wouldn't have been able to stand up. So it's these structural differences. Like, for example, the difference between a monkey and an ape is that a monkey has a tail and it has a bone in that tail. Okay, so it would be differences in the skeleton. Okay, so let's get back to this. Yeah, so are they extinct? Well, it says here that if we look at the bottom, it says scientists believe that modern day birds are in fact dinosaurs' descendants. Okay, let me see if I can get my pen working here. Oh, I need to first close this. Okay, here, modern day birds are in fact dinosaurs' descendants. So if this is true, it means that dinosaurs' relatives are still walking and flying among us. And what's interesting here is that we can say, well, there are no dinosaurs here today. But what we can also say, if birds did descend, if they are descended from dinosaurs, it means that not all dinosaurs became extinct 66 million years ago. Some of them must have survived. And these ones that survived, they evolved into today's birds. So we can say that they did not die out, that they still continue, their family tree still continues today. So are all dinosaurs extinct? Well, we can say the dinosaurs disappeared, but their line has continued to today, and that we can still see them today in modern day birds. Is there any type of bird that is relative to dinosaurs these days? Well, generally, we'll look at that a little bit later on. Okay. Yeah, their genes are alive. Exactly. Their genes have survived and continue to be here today. Okay, that's great. So again, I think, from the comments, it looks like you're interested in this. Okay, I'm really interested in it. I find this a fascinating article, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Let's move over and have a look at some of the academic questions that we're going to answer next. Okay, here we go. So let me zoom in and we'll have a look at these. Right, so here we go. And this is something that I really like about Reading Explorer, about this book, the reading comprehension. You'll notice here that all of the questions here, they're all reading comprehension, but it's explicitly signposted what type of question it is. So here we've got gist. So when the students are looking at it, they see gist and they instantly know, okay, this question is testing me. Do I understand the big picture? Okay, can I find the main idea of this article? And they know that immediately upon looking at the question. The second one, inference. Okay, an inference question is when we need to work out the answer. So we know that we can't find the answer directly. We're going to have to use our brains to link two ideas together. So again, the student knows, okay, so here I can't find the answer. I'm going to have to use my brain. I'm going to have to work this out. It's a critical thinking question. And what this does is it raises students' awareness of the type of questions they're good at and the type of questions that they're not so good at. And it's really good for learner training, just by simply signposting the type of question. So that's something that I really love about this book. It makes it, it really makes students aware of what they're doing in the lesson, which is really, really important. We've also got here a reference question, vocabulary question, and a detail question. So in the detail question, they know they're going to be scanning, okay, for a specific piece of information, all right? So let's have a look at a few of these. Number one, the gist question. We're going to do them, okay, and then a couple of them we'll have a look. I think there's some of them you'll know already. So how about the gist question? It says, what could be another title for this reading? Okay, so we've got what really killed the dinosaurs, dinosaurs, myths and realities, or dinosaurs, new relatives. So all of these things are mentioned, okay, but only one of them is really a good contender. Most of you are putting B. Yeah, that's right. So the whole article is telling us, this is what people think, okay, and this is the truth. So myths and realities, I agree. I think this would be the best option. Okay, we'll check the answers later on. How about this one, inference? Okay, so it says, which statement about Trudon is probably true? It was the size of a small dog, it was warm-blooded, or it was quite intelligent. So I think for this one, maybe we'll go back and have a look. Okay, so here, for example, it mentions cold-blooded, but it says about warm or cold-blooded. It says we don't know. Okay, so we know it's not that one. Okay, what were the other choices? The other choices were about the size of a dog, and it was intelligent. So I can see most of you are putting C, okay, which is it was intelligent. Okay, now let's have a look. It says scientists now believe a few dinosaurs were intelligent. Some smaller ones, like Troodon, had fairly large brains. So here, this is inference because it's telling us Troodon had a large brain. But what does that mean? So we need to work out, we need to use our brains to figure out that having a large brain means that you are intelligent. Okay, so we're linking these two concepts of large brain and intelligent. And that is an inference question. Great. Okay, I think you are right about that one. How about vocabulary? Some paleontologists think T-Rex was a scavenger. Paragraph B, what does this mean? Okay, so let's have a look through, see if you can decide A, B, or C. Small arms, powerful killer, or at dead or decaying material. Okay, and it's this one C, isn't it? At dead or decaying material. This is one I really want to do, this reference question. So referencing is basically when we use things like pronouns, okay, to avoid repetition in a text. So we're going to use pronouns to highlight what we're talking about. Okay, and it's something that students often do quite badly. Okay, so understanding referencing and doing it themselves. So let's have a look. It says here, what does them refer to in paragraph C, line 2? Let's go over and have a look. Take a little bit of time on this question. Okay, so paragraph C, line 2. So what we're looking for, let me highlight it. Then. So this is the word that we're looking at. We want to find out what this word refers to. So when we're doing reference, we want to look at the sentence before and the sentence after the reference that we're talking about. So before, we've got some reptiles known as pterosaurs were able to fly, but even though they looked like them, these were not dinosaurs. Okay, pterosaurs, okay, etc., etc. So actually here we only need to read up to here. So I've got a few different answers coming in. Someone says pterosaur, someone says dinosaur. So let's start at the beginning. In this sentence, the first sentence, what is the subject of this sentence? Some reptiles known as pterosaurs were able to fly. What's the subject of that sentence? Someone type it into the chat box for me. Reptiles. Okay, yeah, not just reptiles, it's some reptiles. Okay, and then there it says known as pterosaurs. So actually we can say that pterosaurs and some reptiles, these are the same. Okay, so they're it's just explained, this part is explaining what we're talking about. So this is the subject here, and it says that they were able to fly. Next, it says, but even though they, okay, now here we've got they. Now we know that they is a subject pronoun. So they is related to what? What's that referencing here? This one here, they, what's that referencing? It's referencing back to here. Okay, I'm going to do a little yellow rainbow. So they is referencing pterosaurs or some reptiles. So these three that I've highlighted, these are all the same. Now, if they, it says they looked like them. Okay, now I said they is the subject pronoun and them is the object pronoun. So it can't be them, it cannot be referencing the same thing because this is the subject and this is the object. So what is them? What is it actually referencing? It's something that comes after, it's the dinosaur. So here I can do another rainbow. Maybe I should do it in a different color, shouldn't I? That would be a good idea. To make it a bit clearer, let's use a different color. So here I can see that them is related to dinosaurs. It's referencing the dinosaurs. And I find that using colors like this and just showing the students, this really helps them to understand what we're doing. So yeah, them, we can see here that them is referring to dinosaur. Okay, great. Let's have a look at one more. So move back over here. Okay, and the last one is this detail question. So it says detail, what happened 66 million years ago? So I said here we're going to practice our scanning. So in the question there, okay, what's the key word that we're going to look for here? When we try and find the answer, what's the key word? 66 MYA. Marvin, yeah, MYA. I like your abbreviation there. So we're looking for 66, right? 66 million. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And then we're looking for what happened then. Is it dinosaurs fly? Is it humans appear? Or is it dinosaurs die out? Okay, so always get our students to highlight those keywords. Let's go back over here. Okay, let's look for 66 million years ago. Okay, I can see it here. Okay, and then what can we see? It says dinosaurs disappeared. And then we've got here, scientists believe they, okay, which is referencing the dinosaurs. And we've got here died out. Okay, so we can see this 66 million is talking about dinosaurs dying out. So the answer is C. Okay, now let's go back over here and we're just going to check our answers just to make sure you've got them right. So let's open up the activity here. So this is a feature of the classroom presentation tool. We can open up the activity and do it. So we said myths and realities. Okay, question 2. This was our inference question, and we said intelligent. Question 3, this is our vocabulary question. We said dead and decaying material. Question 4, the reference question, them. We said it means pterosaurs. And question 5, 66 million years ago, we said died out. So now I'm going to check my answers, and we can see that. Oh, I got it wrong. Okay, sorry, I got it wrong. Okay, you said dinosaurs, didn't you? Okay, so yeah, that was dinosaurs, not pterosaurs. My memory, I got it wrong. So we can see here that the software, it tells us which questions we got right and which ones we got wrong. If we got it wrong, okay, we can show answers and then it will give us a little tick. So it's a really nice, easy way to show students the answers. And it's nice and interactive. We can get the students, okay, to come and tick the checks and the answers for us. Okay, so well done. You got all the answers right, okay, but I got one wrong when I was doing it. Okay, so we got a few minutes left. So we're going to have a look at the last activity that I want to do over here. Okay, so next we're going to have a look, quick look at the skill, the academic skill. Okay, so I got a question from Cherry, how to access the CPT. So Cherry, the CPT, it's a resource basically for schools which are using our programs. So if you're working in a school that has that is using any of our programs, then we will provide the CPT for free. But it's not something we sell individually. It's not something, it's not something that you can just access on a website. Okay, it's something that we provide to schools that are using our programs. Okay, so here we go, identifying supporting examples. So this is a very useful skill for our students. When we want to make a point, when a writer makes a point, they need to support it with evidence. They need to give examples. So here, I'm not going to read it all to you, but it tells us that at this level, okay, the type of language we're using is, for example, like, and such as. So every time I make a point, then I'm going to use one of these bits of language, okay, to introduce my supporting argument, my evidence. So let's have a look at here, the first activity, okay? So first activity here, it's asking us to circle the words or phrases that signal the example. So let me get my pen out. I'm going to use the green pen. And in this first example here, can you find a word here which is signaling the example? Okay, there we go. So I'm going to draw a little circle around like. Okay, how about in number 2? Which words here are signaling that there's an example? In number 2. Okay, we've got here, for example, there we go, very nice. And in the last one, pterosaurs, such as, there we go. Okay, so here we've got, and you get our students to do this, okay, so they're identifying the signal language, okay, so what we're trying to show them here, when they read this, okay, when they read these words, they should understand that what comes next is going to be, explaining the point that has just been made. So the next thing we want to do is we want to underline, or I'm going to highlight, this is question B, we're going to underline the example itself. So this is the signal word. Okay, now we're going to underline the example. So in number 1, what should I underline here? So some smaller ones had fairly large brains. So here, the point the writer was making, the point was not all dinosaurs were stupid, or some dinosaurs were intelligent. And here's the evidence. Some smaller ones, like the 2-meter Troodon, had fairly large brains. Right, there we go. So this is actually the example here. Okay, number 2. Here, the point that the writer was making is that T-Rex is often portrayed as a powerful predator. And here is the supporting evidence. So, for example, which bit should I underline? Is it part of this or is it all of it? So for number 2, part of it. Okay, so so remember, the main point is T-Rex is portrayed as a powerful predator. Okay, well, maybe we could say T-Rex, but that's not really explaining fully, right? That's giving us the example, but it's not really explaining it. So I think maybe if we underline all of this, in the movies, T-Rex is often a fast-moving giant. That's giving a fuller piece of evidence to support that main argument. So I think we could underline all of this. Okay, and the last one, pterosaurs such as, okay, so here the point was that pterosaurs could fly. Okay, and here we go. It's saying, yes, such as Tupishwara, right? Tupishwara, okay, could probably fly. And this bit here, we could remove this from the sentence and the sentence would still make sense. Pterosaurs could probably fly up to 16,000 kilometers. Okay, so there we go. We've got this nice activity where we're identifying the signal word and then highlighting the evidence. And what I would then do is I'd get students to go back and to do the same thing, either in this article or in a similar article, get them to circle and underline the other bits of evidence that they could find. And this is really helping them to identify and analyze a text when they're reading. There are more questions here which we're not going to do, which are just basically filling in the blanks here to give more examples. We've got a few minutes left, so I would like to do this. So there's a very nice critical thinking activity here, which is about analyzing a theory. And what this tells us is that scientists often use words like this, so think, believe, and probably. And so some of you pointed this out earlier, the sentence with probably. And this shows that we're not 100%, okay? This means it's a theory. We don't have 100% proof yet. So we're going to have a look at one of these theories and discuss whether or not we think it's true. Then I'm going to show you some evidence, okay? Some of my evidence. Okay, so let's go back, okay, and have a look at this one here. So I want to talk about the birds because I think that's the most interesting one. Okay, so here, let's have a look. So we're looking for think, believe, or probably. So I'm going to highlight this sentence. Scientists believe that modern day birds are in fact dinosaurs' descendants. Okay, so I'm going to ask you in the chat box, what do you think about this theory? So do you think this is true or do you think it's false? So just in the chat box, what do you think? Do you think it's true or do you think it's false? There's no right or wrong answer here. I believe it's true to a certain degree. Okay, very nice. Okay, Niall says false. Cheryl says true. So, you know, we're collecting evidence. As I say, we don't completely know. Maria says false. Okay, so it looks like we've got a divided opinion, a split opinion, and that is absolutely fine. Okay, I'm going to show you just for fun. Okay, this is not real scientific evidence, but I'm going to show you just something that influences my opinion. Okay, so I'm going to show you some photos. So up on the screen now, you should be. Can you see that? Can you just type into the chat box? What can you see here? Just so, yeah, you can see a footprint, and this is a fossilized footprint from a dinosaur. So this is a footprint which is millions and millions and millions of years old. And it's in Spain, okay? So here we go, a very nice clear footprint. How many toes do you see there? 3, and it has a very distinctive shape, right? So let's go down. I'm going to show you something else now, okay? What are you looking at here? this picture at the bottom, what can you see here? So it's not a chicken. It's much, much bigger than a chicken. Yeah, it's not a dinosaur foot. It looks like one. It's not an ostrich. It's a similar bird that has 3 letters. It begins with E. Can anyone guess? It's an emu, right? This is an emu's foot. And when I look at this foot, I can see these 3 toes. I can see the claws on the end. I can even see scales coming down the toes and on the leg. And when I look at it, and when I look at an emu, I can see that there are definitely some similarities here with the dinosaur foot, the dinosaur leg. So that, I think, is something very interesting. Okay, next part. Next photo I want to show you. Okay, here we've got 2 pictures, okay? Does anyone know what we can see on the left here? And you can see coming off here, yeah, it's got wings, okay, it's got wings. And what's this bit that you can see very faint here, not here on the tail? Yeah, we can see feathers, okay? So this is an animal that had feathers. And this is an animal called Archaeopteryx, okay? And Archaeopteryx, on the left, it's not a bird, okay? This is actually a fossil of a dinosaur. Archaeopteryx is a dinosaur. And we can see it has feathers. We can see that from the fossil. And we can also see the skeleton. Now, on the right, what do we have here on the right? Is that a dinosaur? This is a bird, right? So this is the carcass of a bird. It's a dead bird, okay, which is in the ground. Could be a chicken. I'm not sure. Yeah, could be a chicken. I'm not sure what kind of bird it is. But when we look at this, we can imagine how this bird, if it's left here undisturbed, can turn into a fossil like this. And if we look at the shape of the head, it's very, very similar. If we look at the bones, we can see it. Look at the structures in the legs and the feet. They're very, very similar. And we can even see the feathers here as well, just like the feathers there in the Archaeopteryx. So we can see that there are clear similarities between an animal living today and the animal in the past. Okay, just one more for you, just for fun, really, this one. Okay, here on the right, we've got the image from Reading Explorer of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. And over here on the left, what have we got here? What can we see there? Does anybody know what this bird is called? It's a crow. Yeah, a crow. I think it's a crow. It might be a raven. I'm not sure. But yeah, just to show as well, we've got the legs with the feet there. Okay, we've got the similar body shape. We've got the head with the, with the jaws, with the beak there, okay, which is a little bit similar. So even from looking at these 2, obviously the size is different, but we can see, some similarities in the shape and the structure of these 2 animals. So as I say, this is really just for fun. What do you think of these images that I've shown you here? I should say as well, these images I've taken from pixabay.com. They're rights-free images. You can go to this website. You can use pictures. There are loads of great pictures you can use in your lessons. You don't have to worry because they're free to use. So what do you think about that when you look at these pictures? Is it convincing? What do you think? Do you think that there could be a link here between dinosaurs and birds? Not enough evidence. Sure, of course there's not. This is only really just for fun, but we can see the similarities, right? We can see that there are definitely similarities there. Okay, let's go back to my main presentation. I'm going to do a new share here, and we'll wrap this up. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay, let's do another new share. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so just going to restart my slideshow. Okay, there we go. So yeah, just to give you a little bit of information. So today I've been using this program, Reading Explorer. I'm going to just send my last poll here. So if you're interested to learn a little bit more about Reading Explorer, please tick yes now, and we will send you some information. So yeah, I'll just leave that running there. So just tick yes. Just a little bit of information about Reading Explorer. I told you before. So yeah, this is a 6-level program. It goes roughly from pre-intermediate to advanced level. That's A2 to C1. These are the principles that our team have written it on. So the 6 principles that Reading Explorer is based on is the most important one is that students they have to be interested in reading. So we've picked reading articles which are really interesting that students are going to want to read. Second thing is they need to be at the right level. So as you can see from the language that we looked at today, these are real articles, okay, real articles from National Geographic, which have been very, very carefully graded so that they're accessible to students, but they maintain that integrity and that skillfully written element from from National Geographic, who wrote them originally. So they're not patronizing, okay, they're not oversimplified, they're at the right level for students to understand. Okay, third, pre-reading strategies. We did lots of these. We really introduced the theme, the topic. We really tried to get involved with it. And there are lots of these throughout, different ones in each unit, which really get, activate schemata, get students ready to learn, get them in the right mood. Okay, so that is something really important. Next, we've got these reading skills, thinking skills, so critical thinking, the reading skills that we looked at, okay, all the different question types, all of that is in there. We have strategies for learning vocab. We didn't have time to do it today, but things like, things like learning about collocation, these kind of things, things like prefixes, we did mention all of these different vocab strategies, which help them to identify words that they don't know. And finally, the last one is summarizing. And this is something that's so important for students, is to have that ability to take what they've learned and then explain it in a summary. Because if they can't do that, it means they don't really understand what they've read. So this summarizing, there's a very heavy emphasis on this. And this is something we do every day in real life. When we tell someone about how our day was at work today, that is summarizing. When you ask your child, how was your day at school? And they tell you, that is summarizing. So this is a really important skill. I'm not going to have time to go through this, but I'm going to show you. These are our top tips for effective reading. I'm going to send you the recording of this. So when I do, I recommend you go back and have a look at this and take some notes from here. These are our top tips on how to make reading lessons effective. So please share these with your students. Okay, here's the second half of it as well. Okay, so yeah, go through, okay, take some notes. I'm sure you're going to find some useful stuff here. We will send you a certificate of participation that will come out to you tomorrow afternoon. So please give us some time. Okay, by the end of tomorrow, we will send you an email which has a link to the recording and a link to the certificate. We don't really have a lot of time from this. So I'm just going to have a look in the Q&A box. Can one book run 1 year a course for ESL learning? Okay, so Cherry's asking me about the length of study for one book. So off the top of my head, I think one level of Reading Explorer is suitable for roughly 80 hours, 80 classroom hours, I think. It might be 60 or 80. So I don't know how many hours a week you're studying, but yeah, I think it's around 80 hours we recommend for this. I'm going to tell you about our upcoming webinars. I'm just going to stop sharing just for a moment, and we'll go over to our webinar page. Okay, here. Okay, so if you go to, I'm not sure, did I stop sharing? I'm not sure you can see my screen anymore. I'm just going to type in here for you. If you go to this page here, you'll be able to see our final upcoming webinar. Here we go. You can see it here. And yeah, the next one, it's going to be our very own Andrew Tiffany. The webinar he's doing next week is about previews, warm-ups, and readiness activities. So it's about what you do before you launch into the main part of your lesson. This is going to be a really good webinar. I think you should definitely go and sign up for it now. And while I mention it, it's going to be your last chance in a while, okay? Because next week is our last webinar for this season. Okay, we're going to have a break for a month, maybe a couple of months. So yeah, just just, I don't want to be showing you that right now. Okay, let me stop sharing for a moment. I would like to share with you our Facebook page, okay, which I'm just going to get for you here. So Facebook, ELT, NGL, Asia. Let me put that into the chat box for you. There we go. So please go and like us and follow us on Facebook, and you will get information about when we restart our webinars. Finally, okay, before we finish here, I just want to say a thank you to all of you who are here today and all of you who have been to our webinars before. I think part of what has made our webinars so successful and so popular, it's you, the people who come, the people who take part every week. You know, how engaged you are, how much you take part, how responsive you are to our questions. So yeah, I've really enjoyed delivering these webinars, and I know that Kitty and Andrew have as well. And yeah, so really just thank you so much for taking part. I hope that you have enjoyed them. I hope that you've learned something. Agnes says the first time, and we always welcome people for the first time. If you have enjoyed them, please share with your friends, with your colleagues. You know, we want to reach as many people as we can. Remember, on the website I just shared with you just now, our webinar page. Let me just put this one in the chat box as well here. You can watch all of our previous webinars here. All of our past model lessons are there. I think there are almost 50 of them now. And Carolina, yeah, you've been starting at 6 o'clock. Okay, that's amazing. I can't believe, I can't imagine you getting up at 6 a.m. to watch. So yeah, I feel very honored that you're here. Cherry, you're planning to use other programs from NGL. That's great. If you want to email me, okay, then please do. I can give you more information. Yeah, okay, it's time to end the webinar. So yeah, just thank you very much to everyone for attending. And I will see you again in a couple of months. Keep your eyes on Facebook, and you will find out when we're coming back for the next season. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your evening or morning if you're in Uruguay, and I will see you again in a couple of months. Okay, so goodbye, everyone.